Hello, everybody. Let's see who's here. Give everybody a minute to find me anyway. I got two on here. So, can everybody hear me? Can everybody kind of speak up a little bit and see if I'm actually broadcasting? All right. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, the sale was. I'm just. I'm blown away. I really am. You guys are awesome. You are. You're really awesome. Pat yourself on the back. You're just fantastic. Okay. Yeah, we're up to 20, I think, right now. We'll give it a few more minutes. Hope everybody is doing the quarantine, holding up. I've been busy, so it really hadn't affected me that much. So, um, yeah, Bobby, they were gone about 10 minutes. All 35 of them were gone. It took about 15 minutes for all the emails to hit. But as far as the sale, yeah, it was. My phone sounded like the Windmaster chimes. So it just was constant. Um, but anyway, so there is going to be a third run, and the problem is I just called around to the steel fabricators and nobody has a EBL. Nobody has it. Um, I can get a small plate of 3V. I can get some Nitro V. No O1. No O1 at all. And it looks like that they're saying that maybe the fourth quarter, maybe, to get steel in. So Bobby's saying let's do a pre-order with the same format. Hey, that's an option. That is a very good option to see who wants what. Um, but yeah, different steel maybe. I was thinking maybe Nitro V. I've heard a lot of good things about Nitro V. I haven't used it myself, but um, kind of get y'all's input and find out from you guys what you would like. Thanks, Alex. Toyota Leaf Spring. I don't think we're get to that point yet. We may leave the leaf springs and the files aside right now. Orange Sure Touch. Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, but I'm saying I can't get O1. Everybody's out of O1 too. O1 has been out for a while. And I can get it in the narrow pieces, like the 2 inch. But the problem is, uh, WaterJet will just eat you up on cost. If you don't get it in plates of 13 inches wide and at least 4 foot long, the cost is just it's not there to do that. It eats you up on labor and WaterJet because you have so many setups. Setups is what kills you on WaterJet. Someone is saying AEBL is better. Is it better than Nitro V? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, Randy. Randy wanted to shout out to everybody and say that you guys are awesome too. He got a lot of sheets. Thank you guys. Yeah, good choices, Randy. I support him, and he's his work is just impeccable. He's just a fantastic person, and also his goods are just top notch. So, Randy wanted to do a shout out. So, Randy says, "Hey, uh, well, I wanted to let you guys know as soon as I knew about this deal. Um, I have enough blanks to do what I needed to do for the customs that's coming up. That's already said that they want customs. So I don't have any more blanks cut for another sale. That's what I'm saying in AEBL. I can get 3V. I can get 3V. I can't get O1. I can't get AEBL. Um, so not sure which way to go at this point, because it's going to take about 2 months to get the steel in, get it water jetted, get it ground, heat treated, handle set. So just kind of need everybody to kind of in the comments below voice what you would like to do. If there's another steel out there that everybody's comfortable with, then I'm not going to be able to test it for myself. I'm just going to have to go with what is recommended for heat treat. I can test the NRC because I've got a in-house tester, and it's the Grizzly. It's not a cheap tester; it's a real deal. It's the Grizzly Rockwell hardness tester, the G9645. If you want to look that up. So it does a fantastic job of making sure that the Rockwell is where it's supposed to be. Yeah, that's what I've heard too about the Nitro V, Bobby, is that it is basically a different type of AEBL. It's pretty close to the AEBL. I don't know about the carbides. I don't know how easily it is to sharpen though. I don't know. Um, well, that's where I'm getting it is New Jersey. I just talked to the guy on the phone, and that's what he recommended since he couldn't get AEBL to the fourth quarter. Then he recommended the Nitro V, and I have heard some good stuff about it, but I just don't know how easily it is to sharpen. Actually, there's some wholesale Nessies going to Great Northern Knives, but they're all multi grinds. So I don't know, Spider, if you wanted something besides a multi grind or not. So 420C, I, I don't know about that. If we're gonna do the 400 series of stainless, then I would stick with the 440Cs, 420Js and all that. I mean, Buck has it pretty well down, but I don't know. I haven't had good experiences with that. Yeah, there's a lot of complaints again about people stealing it out of their cart. um, Again, it's depends on how quickly you can get in your cart. Somebody else beat you to it. Um, and also, a little tip just between us. I'm not going to tell anybody else this, but I'll just tell you guys. If you set up an account on my website, then you don't have to put in all your information that's already there. So you can check out a lot quicker. So I'm pretty sure that's where a lot of these people are beating everybody to the punch at, is they have accounts set up. So Jason, you was talking about I'm talking the spider. You was talking about the special run of AEBLs. You wanted the special handles other than the micarta. Is that it? Open mind. No, there was all individuals. No one bought more than one. So there's 35 individuals. Well, there was one person that bought two, but everybody else was just a single knife. They bought one 3V and one AEBL. And there was no POs. It was all pay through the website type deal. I'm serious. If you're coming to the show late, it was. If you could have been on this end of my phone, it was a constant chime with emails coming in. For the first 15 minutes, it was nothing but solid emails, one right after another. So I expect they all sold, all 35 of them sold within 10 minutes. Um, Yeah, Bobby, Nitro V has got some good reports. There's a lot of knife makers that I respect has talked to me about that. Um, Dan at Dogwood, he and I had a conversation about Nitro V. He's sold on Nitro V. So Jason, you're saying stick with the old school wood? Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it, buddy. Those that's coming to the show late, I was just informing everybody that everybody is out of the AEBL, or at least the larger pieces that I need to get them water jetted. I can get 3V, I just can't get 5/32 AEBL. And it looks like it's going to be the fourth quarter before anybody is even talking about shipping or getting any more in stock. It's coming from Germany, folks. So everything from Europe is pretty much stopped, and they have no idea. They're guessing at this point. So I can get some Nitro V if that's something that everybody wants to explore and to look at. I've heard some great things about Nitro V. I'm not going to have time to test it myself and tweak it and do all this other stuff. It's just going to be a basic uh, heat treat according to what is recommended. So um, I am going to be able to test the RC ratings to make sure that we're hitting the target on the RC. But there's no time to do a lot of testing and stuff. Bush tools are being finished ground right now. There's some being shipped out on Wednesday. So they should have them by the end of the week. Jacob, that was your question. I've got 20 going out to the Greater Northern Knives Wednesday. I think there's 5 or 6 bush tools and a few odds and ends. Get with Jeff or those folks at Great Northern. Jeff and I talked yesterday or day before. Days are running together. But yeah, he selected 20, and I'm getting those out to him this week. Matter of fact, I did the first grinds on them this morning, and so I'll finish them up tomorrow. Hello, Gert. Yeah, John, there was somebody else, a very good friend of mine, was upset that you beat him to the punch on that knife. he called me, said, "Man," he said, "I can't believe I missed that knife." So he had to scramble to get another one, his second choice, but he really wanted that one with the anvils on it. Sorry, not sorry. I don't imagine that helps him feel any better either. Hi, Todd. Man, you're making me jealous all these trips. Man, I wish I was able to go with you, buddy. That looks like an awesome time, really. It really does. I'm sad that we're not going to be able to do a trip this time. Yeah, Gert, they sold within, well, the emails took 15 minutes to get all in, but it looks like all of them sold around 10 minutes into the sale, all 35 of them. So, yes, they're all gone. Yeah, Todd, me too, buddy. I was really looking forward to that trip, that float trip. Jason, not understanding your comment there, buddy. It says, I'd love to pre-sale when you decide what you have available. Are you talking about steel? Yes, Spider, we're going to ship them out tomorrow, those that did not order sheaths. If you ordered sheaths, it's going to be probably a couple, 3 weeks before we get them out. Thanks, Gert. It is an awesome shape. It really is. It's a pure bushcraft field knife. I mean, it's not too much of any one shape to where it hinders you on any other task. It's just a good design that works. It really is, and it looks cool too. A really nice looking knife. Yeah, Rob. Blackie's going to reschedule in the fall sometime. Pre-order steel and handle, etc. Um, I have to think and see how we could do that. The problem is when we had small numbers, we could do that. But it looks like now maybe we're into the hundreds range. This is just I am just I I don't know what to say. I'm just humbled and blown away. Thanks, Todd. Yeah, O one is really good, but the problem is can't get O one either. O one and AEBL both is just really hard to get, well, impossible to get in the quantities that I need. I can get the small narrow stuff, but like I said earlier, the setup fees and water jet it just kills you on cost. You just can't do it. You have to get the big plates. Joe, I have enough blanks of everything on AEBL to finish out whatever's been ordered. So everything that's been ordered, I have enough steel for. It's the stuff that this hasn't been ordered that is coming down to crunch time. I probably have. I'm up to. Well, we finished grinding through 320 this week on the SKs. So I've got enough steel to finish out, and I think the orders are up to 360 now. So I got more than 40 blanks on hand for the SKs. So no worries there. It's trying to set up a new or a new special run of the Blackbirds is having the problem. And I also got some additional steel at the fabricator for 3/16. Maybe we do a 3/16 Blackbird. I don't know. I think it's a little thick, but I mean, maybe some people like that. I've got one plate of 3/16. We could do that. I think I can get about 30 blades out of it. Bobby, there is going to be a production run. Matter of fact, Greater Northern has ordered a production run of those, so they will have some of those end of the week up for production eyes. I mean, it's just going to be green, black, and natural handles. Not going to be any numbers on it. They will have the Blackbird, but no numbers, no special handles, just standard canvas micarta. So if you want a hard use working knife, they're all AEBL. Then talk to them. They should have them by the end of the week. Yeah, Gert, the SK, I still, after all of this, I think the SK, and for my use, is the perfect field knife. If I'm leaving the house, I got one in the truck. If I'm going hunting or camping or field use at all, I've got one somewhere either on me or in my pack. So yeah, it's I haven't found anything yet that surpasses it. I've got some designs that's very close. I like the belt knife. The belt knife is great, but as far as ticking every box, I think that SK just is just a phenomenal tool. It really is. Um, I don't know exactly a count of the EDCs. I think I have 30 of them, 30 blanks right now on the EDCs. May Special, I'm thinking about doing an assortment of blades for the May Special. The problem is, I got a wholesale order in Friday that's going to take up some of those. So I got to figure out exactly what I've got. I was thinking about doing some classics, maybe a few in '01 and a few in AEBL. We'll do the Scandi grinds only on the classics, and maybe something else like a Junior Woodsman, some bushcraft stuff, and see how that goes for next month. But I've got the blanks for that for doing something like that, and so that's the plans right now. It hasn't completely gelled yet, but that's what I'm thinking right now. Well, Joshua, you're a smart man to have that SK on you right now. Let me show you what I got. I always go back to the Nessie, folks. Always, always go back to the Nessie. It's just a, it's light, it's comfortable. It does everything I needed to do around the shop, in the kitchen. I mean, it's just the multi grind. It's the bomb. It's if I was going to go anywhere, this is what I would have on me. And as far as a companion knife. Now, this is one of those that you'd want an axe with you or an SK or something heavy duty. But as far as a companion knife, it's my favorite. My favorite. I love the EDC, but I always go back to the Nessie. Lark. Todd. Todd, you're trying your best to change the name of that, aren't you? D2. I have done D2 in the past, and I like D2. The problem is D2 has a bad rap. So, and that's because there was a lot of D2 done in lesser quality controlled factories, and it was prone to chipping. So it's kind of hard to do good sales with D2 because of that persona that everybody thinks it's bad steel. It's not. It's really very good steel if it's done right. But that's the reason I don't mess with D2 that much is because of that perception out there that it's cheap steel. Um, the CPM D2 is just it is phenomenal. It really is. But then again, you're getting into pricing like the 3B, so I might as well go with the 3B. Yeah, Josh, I've had a pancake sheath from Randy too. They it's very surprising how comfortable they are. It really is. They look big and bulky, but they're not. That was one of the things when Randy and I was talking. He was sending me pictures and everything of what they was coming up with for the SK a couple of years ago, and I was like, man, is that bulky? And they said, no, it's not. So he sent me one, and I wore it for a week or so, and man, you put it on, it just disappears. It really does. It's a very, very unique and useful design that he's put up. Those yokes and everything is just very innovative. Very innovative. Now, Gert, it's kind of hard to compete with Mora. There's a lot of knife makers out there that compete with Mora. I'll leave that up to them. It's I think the Nessie is a little bit more versatile than the Moore. It does the carving as well as the Moore, and also it's a better skinner than the Moore is. So I try to get as much versatility in a knife design as I can get. Um, the Nessie comes in AEBL only. That's the only steel that I have it made in, and you can order one from my website. LRRP69 asked the question. Um, my ABL is comparable to any steel out there, even some of the CPM steels. I put it up against that. Uh, Now, in laboratory test, I mean, you may see a difference, but we're not in the laboratory. We're out in the woods doing stuff. So you're probably not going to see a difference, really, to be honest. Wow, you guys are awesome. I didn't expect that many people on here. Well, that Nessie is, like I said, it's the best companion knife that I keep going back to it. It was in development for at least a year, maybe longer. I could not get the handle to where I liked it for about a year. And then once I did, I always go back to it. Always. I'll test a knife for a week or two, and then I'll always go back to the Nessie. Um, I just love that shape, that design, that continuous curve. Now, I do like the drop down on a lot of knife designs, but for that particular knife, that continuous curve, just it's great. I do a lot of cutting, a lot of leather, and so when you're cutting leather, if you hold the knife like this, it just slices through the leather because of that fine tip, especially with a multi-grind. And then you got this very thick, robust here for light, very light. If you watch my batoning video, you'll understand what I'm saying, light. So you're talking very, very small stuff. Hit it with your hand. That way you don't want to put too much vibration on it. But um, it, I mean, it's just and slicing through veggies and all this other stuff. I just, it's a perfect knife. It's a perfect companion knife, in my opinion. Now, some people like the NK, some people like the EDC, and they're all great knives. Don't get me wrong. But for me, in my shop, I'm doing a lot of slicing on thick materials like leather and things like that, and that fine point, just it's just you can't beat it. You just can't beat that point. Yeah, John, the Master Woodsman. Yeah, that's a Scandi into a Saber. I'm pretty sure on the Master Woodsman. So that's a multi grind or a compound grind. John, thanks, man. No, you're awesome. You're awesome. Not me. You're awesome. Um, Manjes Kumar, there's an old video when I first started doing the compound grinds. Actually, Mora was not the first. If you look at most designs, Bob Lovelace came up with more designs than anybody else, and he actually had a compound grind back in the early 70s. And I can't remember the name of it, but if you Google it, you'll probably come across it. So, Bob Lovelace, as far as I know, is the first person to do a compound grind. Now, I started exploring with a compound grind about 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe long, might have been 5 or 6 now. But yeah, I was very intrigued with the concept of having because and I'll real quickly explain why I do it. I've done it on videos, but I always could not understand why a knife grind was the same from one end to the other because I never used the knife the same in different areas. For the tip, I wanted a different grind. For the middle, I wanted a different grind. And for the back here, I wanted a different grind. Because back here is where you do your wood carving, your feathers, your things like that, that you're going to need a Scandi. But then up here, you need some slicing ability, something that's going to go through stuff without creating a bind and wedging. Back here, that Scandi right there again, it's good for splitting things apart. It's a wedge. Up here, you got the slicing that doesn't pinch, doesn't bind, and you get the finer tip. So you get the best of a lot more worlds. I like a knife that's going to be very versatile. I don't want a knife that's going to be good at one thing. I want something that's going to be good at several things. So the multi-grind to me is the better choice as far as when you're talking about knives. Now, what inspired me to do that? 40 years of use. I had seen this. I started before the Eldredis even came out. So when I released the Master Woodsman's, which was the first knife really that actually was a compound grind, that I said yes, it looks good enough to give to the public. I had done some others before that, but the Master Woodsman was the first one that actually I thought had a chance or was worth pursuing. And after I did that one, then I branched out into different things. I went through the Saber, the hollow grind, and a bunch of other combinations on it. But it's just one of those things. I think the 2000 Mora 2000 was the only one. I don't think the Kansball was out at that point. Yeah, Mora does have some combination grinds or some compound grinds, but mine was a little bit before that. Now the 2000, like I said, was out, but it wasn't that popular. Hope that answered your question. Again, if you go to my YouTube channel, which you're here already, just go to my homepage and there's a playlist on the Woodsman's Grind. There's like over 100 videos on it. So it's been out for a while, the compound grinds. And the Tracker was another one that intrigued me. I think Dave Beck, when he and Tom Brown came up with that design, which Dave Beck came in after the fact. I think there was another person involved in that beforehand, but Dave Beck's the one that finished it with Tom Brown. Dave Beck's a very good friend of mine, and I highly respect the guy. He actually turned the knife world upside down with that Tom Brown Tracker. Like it, love it, whatever you think about it. He turned the knife world upside down with that design, and it's a very interesting concept. It really is. See if I can. Hope that answered your question, Manji. I hope that's how you pronounce it. A Parang, yeah. I'm hoping Gert to get out there and actually try that. I'm really excited to actually get to use that one. I've got some other ideas on that, but just have to wait and see. I'm trying to get this new shop built. This sale is going to certainly help to get the electric in there and get the grind room in there. And so that's what the plan is anyway. Let's see how that goes. So that I can get some free time and get some help. The guy that I had doing the handles right now, he's in a county to where they're almost in lockdown. So I had to take everything back. So now I'm trying to do handles and everything. And I'm sitting here talking to you guys like I don't have anything to do. But hey, I needed a break. I know a ton about steel type. Bushcraft community tends to go with 1095. How does the different types of steel compare to 1095? Just curious. 1095 is a great steel. It really is. If it's heat treated properly, it's a great steel. Rust, great. Okay? You got to touch it up quite a bit, but it's easy to touch up. No, seriously, 1095 is good. If it's heat treated properly, it's a very good steel. I prefer 01. To me, 01 gets sharper than 1095 does. It seems to hold an edge just a little bit better than 1095. And AEBL, which is a stainless, doesn't have as much upkeep and maintenance than the others, and it sharpens about as easily as a carbon steel, but it does get it gets a scary edge, as my buddy Dan says, stupid sharp. I had never seen anything get as sharp as AEBL, and I've tried a lot of them. AEBL gets sharper than anything I've ever seen. Bobby, Bushkeeper, man, that's an old design. Actually, the Alaskan Scout, which has a compound grind, is very close to the Bushkeeper. It really is. Has that Kephart look. Yeah, Jeremy. Yeah, I did one. I think one of the prototypes had the hollow grind in it, maybe two. But yeah, it, is it the one I did with the video on and did the batoning like an idiot? Don't do that with it much. But yeah, it man, it sliced great. Yeah. Yeah, I talked to Jeff a couple of days ago. He'll have a run of 20 assorted knives in this week. I'm finishing up the grinds on it now and be shipping on Wednesday. Blackbird and a Saner Scout. Both of them have the Scandi going into a saber. It's just the blade shapes are different, sizes and things like that. So the handles are a little bit different too, but the grind is the same. It's just saber or the Scandi, the Saner has a little bit more of a drop, a little bit more of a sweet spot, where the Blackbird is a little bit more. It's not as pronounced. So. Yeah, they are still doing business. They are shipping orders out. They're doing things through their website. If that was the question, so yeah, they you order something on their website or give them an email or something, they do respond. Well, Gert, the reason that most knife companies are so conservative is because we got people out there that's beating the tar out of knives, thinking that's the way a knife's supposed to be handled. So us as makers, to compensate for that, because we can't afford to replace every knife that we ship out because somebody broke it. We need to change the narrative back to using some common sense. I'm not saying don't baton. I'm not saying that. I'm saying use some common sense with it. Um, don't try to create a log cabin with a knife. Don't try to split 5-inch firewood, oak, season. I mean, if you see what I've done with knives, don't do that. I did it so you don't have to. If it broke on me, then no big deal. But if you break one, that means that you got to send it to me. I got to get a replacement, and it just takes time. And two, it's a very sickening feeling to do that. As I've said in the other batoning videos of recent, out of the several thousand that I've done, I've only had to replace like 5 or 6, and every one of them was because of batoning. And the thing about it is, almost to the person, they said that it was very light stuff that they were doing. And I asked them, well, what did you do to it a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago? So, well, we put it through some hard stuff. So what's happening is, like I explained in the video, is there's a very fine fissure that occurs in that blade that you don't see while you're hitting it, going through some very dense stuff. And then over time, that crack just works through the blade. So you may just be cutting or whittling on a stick and the blade just snaps. And it's because of that fissure finally worked through that blade. So it goes to harmonics and vibrations and all kinds of stuff that's going through that steel as you're striking it with another object. So if you stay with some small stuff like Kenley, and folks, even if you watch Ray Mears or some of those other guys that actually batons, I mean, there's the stuff that they baton is very small stuff. It's not this, okay? So we need to bring that mentality back and just get some common sense with this. I mean, it's not like I have a problem with blades breaking. Like I said, there's only been about 5 or 6, so it's not that big a deal. But again, I don't want you guys to experience the feeling of a knife when it goes ping, because I've done it during test, and it's not a good feeling. Hope that answers your question. I got 2 videos on that too. But yeah, Gert, I think that's why. So knife companies overcompensate for that. They're trying to make the knife stronger and more resilient. And while we're doing that, we're getting away from what I think a knife should be done or what it should be used for, and that's slicing and cutting. So you have an apex that's a 22 degrees. You have a very thick apex at the top of that, so it's got strength. So it doesn't slice very well. It binds, it pinches. And when you're trying to slice on wood, you have to hold that knife at such an angle. It doesn't want to shave. It wants to just dig into the wood. So it's not very usable like that. So when I'm starting to do knives at 12 degrees on for a cutting edge. It it creates a phenomenal knife cutting, and everybody is standing up and taking notice of that because I'm bringing it back to what a knife should do, in my opinion. And there's other designs out there that's designed to do the batoning and do other things, but my knives are not. I mean, if you stick with the light stuff, you'll be fine. Okay, don't get out there and try to kill it with a club because they ain't gonna last. Spring steel is good. I've done a few knives with spring steel, 5160. Yeah, Gert. Thank you. Yeah, I really concentrate on the design part of it because I got tired of. I got a Chris Reeves knife, and Chris Reeves makes a phenomenal knife. Don't get me wrong. It's just that his edges are like 22 and a half. I hate it. I really do. I actually took it to the grinder and changed the angle on it because it just does not cut. It they look great. I mean, the operation of it is great. It's all very intricate on the design part of it. Some very good thought went into it, but the geometry of the blade is just horrible, horrible. But I mean, if he ever wants to talk to me about design, I'll be happy to talk to him. But yeah, once you change it to a very, and I didn't go with a 12 on it, I went probably about a 15 or 18, and that helped out quite a bit because he's got hollow grinds. But it helped out tremendously. I mean, you couldn't even use it to do anything. It just the angle on it was so steep. So anyway, I don't understand why. Evidently, people don't use their own knives. It's the only thing I can think of. Two of the most important aspects to determine a knife will actually perform. Well, I think you hit on it. The angle of the cutting edge and also the thickness of the apex at that cutting edge. I mean, at certain aspects, I mean, if you have, say, a Scandi, then you're going to have a thick apex, but you're going to have a very fine edge. So for splitting apart wood, making for wedging and things like that, as long as you're about 11 or 12 on the Scandi, you're pretty good. But again, that is good for splitting things apart, but it's not good when you're trying to slice vegetables with it, because again, it's trying to split things apart, so it's breaking and snapping, and your carrots don't slice very well, the onions don't slice very well. Leather, forget it. I mean, if it's thick leather, just forget it. It'll bind, it'll pinch, it'll work your arm to death trying to cut that stuff. So for different aspects, you would want something that's going to wedge like that has a thick apex. But for the most part, on skinning and game processing and kitchen prep and things like that, the Scandi is not good at all. Does it work? Yes, it will work, but it's not the best option. Let's just put it that way. So the in my opinion, the best part of a knife design is the cutting edge and the apex behind that edge. Everything else is going to work out. If you want some strength, then get you a saber. If you want a little bit more cutting power, slicing power, then raise that saber up. The higher you get that saber up, the better it's going to slice. The lower you get that saber, the better it's going to split things apart, and the better it's going to have more strength on. Okay? Thanks, John. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, that sale went very, very quick. My estimate about 10 minutes they sold out. Yeah, a lot of my designs have a saber. They start with a Scandi and work into a saber. Some of the Nessies, they kind of blend into I don't know if you call it a convex flat. I really don't know what to call that grind because it flows into a convexed grind or I just don't know really how to explain it. It's a buff saber. I don't know, but at the tip it's a full flat. But then as you it's maybe it's just a distal taper is probably the best way to explain that. That's what the Nessie is, the multi-grind Nessie. That's what the Alaskan Scout is. That's what a few of the other designs are. It has that distal taper from the Scandi portion to the tip. Samuel, it looks like they sold out in about 10 minutes, all 35. You'll love the stitch gear sheath. Awesome work. Awesome work. Yes, Matt. The small Victorinox. Got one on my belt right now. On my little pouch. If I can get it off. Always have one with me. Always. Yeah, Vaughn, I think I have enough AEBL on the EDC, so I'm not going to have to get anything else. We'll be able to finish out the EDC orders with that, what I've got. I just picked up 30 blanks Friday, I think it was. Is the handle material that looked like a micarta or G10? I'm not sure what you're talking about, John. I don't do G10 unless it's a custom build. So it probably is micarta. If it's a production knife, it's natural micarta, green micarta, or black micarta. And it's all canvas. I don't like the linen because it's just too slick. I like canvas because it has a little bit of texture to it. Good luck, Gert. Stay safe, brother. And I'm sure there's some food out there. Really compact, small handle knife. No. I think that a handle is probably the second most important thing on a knife. You asked what was the two important things. Edge geometry is one. Two is the handle. If the handle's not comfortable, I don't use it. If I use any knife that the handle's too small or it's not contoured correctly, my hand starts cramping, and I usually throw it in the drawer, and I've got a bunch of those. So even on my small knives, the handles are always a little bit larger than what the industry standard is, because with arthritis and everything, I've got to have something to hold on to. So all of my knives, I make knives for me. Okay, if anybody else likes them, then that's fantastic, and and I'll sell them. But if I don't like a knife, I'm not going to make it unless it's a wholesale order and somebody designs it. But usually I won't even do that. And Panda will tell you there's a bunch of designers I ain't making it. But anyway, for the most part, I make knives for me. If I like them, if I use them and I say, yeah, this is a versatile knife and it's going to tick the boxes that it was designed for, then I'll go ahead and produce that knife. But no small handles. No thick apexes, unless it's the Scandi. I mean, that serves a purpose. But for sabers or full flats, it's going to be a thin apex. Sure Touch is layered G10. The black part of that is rubber, so it's rubber layers with G10 colors. Multi-grind Nessie folder. Not going to rule that out. The thing about it, folders is, I mean, they're so intricate to make. You just about have to have CNC machines to do that. And until I get the new shop built, there's just no room for them. So maybe one day, who knows? I'm not going to say never, because you never know what's coming down the pike. But yeah, if I ever do folders, it's because William got a CNC machine. Jay, what do you want to use the knife for? I mean, that's the question. If you're looking for and you was probably not on there when I did this, but to me, this little Nessie right here with the multi-grind ticks every box that I need for a companion knife. Now, belt knife for the field, I think that either the SK or the belt knife, I mean, those are great choices. If you want something a little bit lighter, then the belt knife is a good choice. But um, as far as the NK, I mean, a lot of people love it. But for me, if you're asking what I use, I always go back to that little Nessie. For the past 2 years, I always go back to it. Um, it just, I just love the way the handle fits, the way it cuts, the geometry of the blade, how it's shaped. It does everything I need to do, including cut thick leather and kydex and everything else in the shop. So. Yeah, Jacob, those large handles. If you with arthritis, man, I can relate with you, brother. It's you got to have those large handles. I mean, you start processing a deer, and you'll learn real quick if you like that knife or not. um, Manjeet, I have a Cold Steel, the SR1, I think it is, the big one, the one that's the 3/16 blade. Man, that is a beast. It has S35EN steel. Very good quality. Very impressed with Cold Steel. Spyderco, I have a couple of Spydercos. I have a Para One and one other one that's a custom maker out of Texas, and I can't remember his name. Both of those are great knives. And I've got a couple of Benchmades. Um, but I, if I'm gonna use a folder, I mentioned I have a Chris Reeves. If I'm gonna use a folder, this is on my belt constantly. This little Victorinox Spirit, I guess it's a Spirit, um, and this to me it's a better option. I like versatility, and when you start talking about folding knives, and you're pretty much down to one option. It just cuts or it don't cut. With this, I mean, you got all kinds of different tools in there. So I mean, and then you also have a blade. I use this rated one because I always have a fixed blade knife on me. So, but that's I'm not much into folding knives because of that reason. Is if I'm going to carry a folder, it's going to be an SAK, either the Trekker or one of the Huntsman or something like that, because of the versatility of it. I don't think that carrying a single bladed folding knife is that versatile. Really, it doesn't do it for me. So another Nessie or the Lark. Where's Todd? Where's Todd? We gotta get another Lark. Thanks, Jay. Look forward to it, brother. I tell you what, I have not heard of anybody once they get one saying that they'll never buy another one. There's Homer now. Homer got the knife he wanted. Well, he didn't. He's the one that missed that black pin one that was earlier on there. Somebody, Homer, was talking about your knife and bragging about it, but at least you got the second choice. But anyway, like I said, I most people come back for 3 and 4 knives, and there's some people that I mean, every sale I have, every design I come out with, they gotta have one. So um, I've never had anybody tell me they'll never buy another one. Now they may have said that privately, but I've never heard that. And if they did say it privately, I'd like to know why. I mean, if there's something that I did as far as a craftsman, then I need to know that because I'm always trying to improve, always trying to do better. Um, well, Mike, the Blackbird Outlook is we're going to try to do another run. I just can't get AEBL, and that was the purpose of this live chat. And it just kind of got sideways on me. But I just don't know what steel to do. I can get 3V, I can't get O1 or AEBL. And it looks like fourth quarter maybe they get some more in. So we got to choose a different steel or something. I don't know. So in the comments below, anybody that's watching this video after the fact, kind of give me an idea of what steel you prefer. Nitro V is something that I've really been interested in because I've had several other makers talk to me and say that they're really impressed with it. So it's I haven't used it, so I can't really say anything about it. I don't know as far as the recoverability of it, how that compares to AEBL, but um, as far as the wear and everything else, everybody I've talked to is really, really impressed with that steel. Joshua, well, I appreciate it. Maybe you win the lotto or something. You can buy one every day. Yeah, John, I heard the same thing about Nitro V. Like I said, I haven't heard anything bad about it. Has anybody heard anything bad about Nitro V? I guess it's a better question. So I guess that's a no. Nobody's heard anything bad. What cost? 3V is probably about the same as AEBL, if that's the question. A2, Matt, I've made some knives with A2. They just seem to be a pain to sharpen. Um, I don't know. It seems to the recoverability of them is not what um, AEBL is, and maybe I'm spoiled. I don't know. Yeah, Mike, the Nitro is probably going to be the same price as the AEBL or O1. It's very comparable in price. The reason I'm looking over here is because all the I got a iPad over here that's keeping track of all the questions. Yeah, A2 does get very sharp. It's not really a stainless. It will patina a little bit, but my experience is it's just a little bit more difficult to sharpen. It's not as bad as D2, but it is a little bit more if you let it get dull. I guess the key is don't let them get dull. But my favorite wood handle, um, probably the most dense is either African blackwood or desert ironwood. Those are I mean, those will destroy some belts. If you're going to shape a desert ironwood or a blackwood, then you better have two belts ready because it's gonna wear some belts out. Um, Now on this one, I've got coalwood, which coalwood's pretty decent wood. It's not all that special, but it looks good. Um, Osage, Osage is a very dense wood. It's a nice wood, feels good. The blackwood is really probably my favorite because it has a different feel to it. I don't know. It's just texture. It feels really good. Black palm has a little bit of a texture grip as well. I mean, it has some dense areas in black palm and it has some less dense areas in it. It has a lot of grain in it, but pick only one. Yeah, I'd say African blackwood. I just like the texture of it. It feels slick until it gets wet, and then it's a little bit tacky after that. I don't know. It's just a different wood. Tactical blades, yeah, the WCSK is a tactical in some categories. The WCSK, other than William Collins Survival Knife, stands for Woods Combat. and kitchen and survival. Yeah, John, I really like those WC mosaics. Thing about it is they come from Hong Kong, so may not be getting any of those for a while. Trying to save what little few I have left to kind of make something special, maybe. I don't know. If I ever get time. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, just kind of blown away with that. That amazed, really amazed at it. Wow, we're up to 50 now. It's going to be a quick thing, but you guys, that's all right. We'll spend the afternoon. We'll talk. We'll chat. Got nothing else to do other than make knives. Any other questions? Yeah, John, I've been putting in a lot of hours, buddy. Um, like I said earlier, my help was doing it outsourced, and his shop is in a different county, and that county's on lockdown. So um, having to do a lot of it myself now, and yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired. Mark, no, there's not any available unless some of my vendors have SKs. Let's check with Stitch Gear. He had an old one left. I don't know if somebody was interested in that a few weeks ago. I don't know if he sold that or not. I have five going to Great Northern Knives. I don't know if he has any in stock now, but there's five going to him probably in a couple, 3 weeks. But you can always order one from my site and get it in 90 to 120 days. So that's probably the best bet if those other guys don't have it. If you guys want something that's not readily available, always check with the vendors, the authorized dealers, because they usually have a pretty good stock of stuff. Um, but you have to get with them because a lot of times they don't put it on the website because people have contacted them and said, "Hey, I want one," so they'll set it aside for them. But it's always a good bet to check with them. Jeremy, we all doing good. We're staying around the house. Mom and Dad lives next door to me, and so we're just kind of keeping it close. And Dad is, he's almost 90, and he's still out there trying to do a garden. So we just, as long as he's not hurting himself, we let him go. We let him do what he wants to do. He runs his lines at least once a day if the weather's not bad. So. Todd, I really do. I don't think Dad wants to do another trip. He just the last couple of times I offered, he didn't want to go. So yeah, Jay, we had a lot of fun that year, me and Dad, and it's just I kind of felt like that was probably the last year he'd feel like doing stuff like that. But like I said earlier, he's got COPD real bad, and he's close to 90, so we'll just leave it at that. No, Jacob, I don't do shop tours. I mean, if you look at my videos, sometimes you'll see what's in the shop. I just don't want people to know what I got in the building. To be honest, I mean, at some point I'm gonna get a good security system, but I don't want to. I mean, I have a lot of equipment in here, and I'm telling everybody on social media. It's probably not the smartest thing to do. Manjeet, I would say, well, my battery is. I would say AEBL hands down. on stainless. I think it's just the bomb on stainless steels. I really do. It's reasonably priced. It's a great steel. It gets very sharp. It holds a very good edge, and it's easily to resharpen. So I mean, it ticks all the boxes. That's the reason I use it a lot, is because I haven't seen anything better, really. I've never used a bussy knife. It just looks like a big pry bar to me. I picked them up at shows and don't like the geometry of it. Don't like the ergonomics of it. Don't like any of it. It just doesn't do anything for me. No, Mark, you're not crazy. No, the last time I went camping was back early fall when I went on that river trip, the canoe trip. That's the last time I've been in the woods. Well, I did do the Frozen Foot. I take that back. I was at February. I was at Frozen Foot for a couple 3 days with everybody. But that's it. I mean, I got a brand new boat that's never been in the water. I picked it up in Arkansas when I was there. Really went up there to pick up a boat that I had built without a seat. It's a John boat without a middle seat. So I had to have it special made. So I went up to Arkansas to pick it up. It's still in the yard. It hadn't even been in the water. That's sad. That is really sad. No, Spider, I haven't. Man, it's still on the books to play around with that, but man, I don't have the time. I've got a lot of designs that I've sketched out that maybe one day I get around to it. I just don't have the time for it. Jay, it looks like they're going to cancel. Getting emails now that they want to know who would be willing to push out. I voted yes, but then they come back and said that there wasn't any slots available. So unless this thing stops pretty quick, I think they're going to cancel. So we just have to see. John, there was a video I did when I picked the boat up of them loading the boat on the trailer. I picked up two of them, one for me and one for Dad. So it's either an Instagram or social media or somewhere in there. Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, run out of steel, maybe I can. Problem is, I got so much other steel hanging on the wall. It's just that that one steel for the blackbirds, I just don't. I didn't. I had water jetted about 60 blades, but we went through 35 of them this morning, so or this afternoon. Yes, I did, Todd. Got to use it on Frozen Foot, but that's the only time I've ever got to use it. Hey, Stephen. Good morning from Australia. Yeah, I used the first night in Dothan. Yeah, was coming back from Georgia with it. Yeah, that was a good steak too. Didn't care too much for your snot on shells, but that steak was pretty good. Thanks, Matt. Have a good time, buddy, and stay safe. Hi, Robbie. Yeah, it's kind of an impromptu thing. I was letting everybody know that to do another run of Blackbirds, I can't get the AEBL stainless or O1 in 530 seconds. It's like fourth quarter. They're thinking maybe. So we have talking to everybody see if there's another preference of steel. Toss around Nitro V. If anybody's heard anything bad about that, I need to know about it. But everything that I'm hearing, it's very compatible with the AEBL. So I'm really leaning toward that right now. But I wanted to get you guys' input as well. Well, I don't know about them oysters, though, Todd. I didn't do it for me. I tried it, but it just didn't work for me. I'd rather have a steak. Steak was good. Mike, I stopped doing custom orders in 2018. I just don't have the time. I'm still trying to get what was on the books in 2018 done. It looks like it's going to be summer before I get them all done. Um, I've got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I got 7 customs on the bench right now, and I've got 2 more in that are 10 each in the files that I've got to do. It's just I don't have the time for it. I really don't. And as I explained in the FAQ, or the frequently asked question video, it takes probably 3 to 4 times longer to do a custom than it does a production knife, because you're going back and forth with the customer and trying to make everything right, and it's not cost effective to do that. You're welcome, Homer. Appreciate it, buddy. CPM 154 is good steel. It's just a higher price range. I mean, if you're going to go with the CPM 54, then you're going to buy a 3V. But yeah, it's good steel. You just got to keep it sharp. You can't let it get dull. A2, we talked about that. I don't like the recoverability on that, but yeah, it's a good steel. I think AEBL kind of spoiled me because it's so easily maintained, and it gets so sharp, and keeps a very good edge. Um, yeah, I've heard that too, Spider. I've heard that Nitro V is AEBL on steroids. Same analogy. Yeah. Thanks, Todd. Be careful, buddy. Don't have too much fun. Yeah, Vaughn, we did a special run of EDCs a few months back, and we'll probably try to do another one at some point. It's just getting back around to that. Um, so just stay in touch with my social media and YouTube channel, and see if when that's going to come up. Because I got a couple of other designs that's going to come out here in the next few months, and we're going to try to work some EDCs in there as well, if I got enough blanks. That's the other thing. Steel's getting a little hard to come by right now. All right, is any other questions? I've been on here about an hour. It's probably about 45 minutes longer than I anticipated. I need to do a live show sometime. Yeah, Stephen, that Sportsman in AEBL, man, I still have one in the drawer. That is it's a fantastic knife. It really is. Robbie, we may do some Nessies on a special run, but like I say, I've got so many models to do. I just don't know, and it's pretty much going to come down to what blanks I have, to be honest, because like I say, steel is getting tight. I had mentioned earlier, I don't know if it's on this video or to someone else in a comment, that I'm thinking about next month doing an assortment of different models. One of them's probably going to be the classic. Do a handful of those, some in O1 and some of them in AEBL as far as Scandi grinds only, because of bushcraft and spring coming and things like that. But and maybe one other model of something, just kind of mix it up a little bit. Maybe do a junior. I don't know. Just have to see what kind of models I have available and what kind of orders I have as far as blanks. Thanks, Joshua. Do that, Mark. You will not be disappointed. Like I say, that SK, man, it's still the best field knife that I've ever used. Thanks, Jeremy. You too, brother. All right, guys, we're gonna call it a wrap, and appreciate all your support. You guys have been phenomenal. I can't say enough. I'm so thankful for you guys for letting me live my dream. And until the next one, we'll try to do another live show at some point. I'll give enough heads up notice so that we can have one that has a few more questions. You can think about it for a little bit and see if you can stump William. Till the next one, get in the backyard with a little stick. Be sure and take a child with you if you get the opportunity, which they're off from school right now. And all you first responders and healthcare workers, you take care. Hats off to you. And we'll catch you again soon. Bye-bye.